Imagine having a clear memory from childhood, something so real you'd stake your life on it, only to discover it's a complete fabrication. Not distorted, not exaggerated, entirely made up, yet sealed inside your mind with the full weight of lived experience. And the most unsettling part,
You have no idea which of your memories that describes right now. And there's a decent chance, a genuinely disturbing chance, that it never happened. Not misremembered, not slightly off, just gone.
replaced. A fiction your brain invented so smoothly, so completely, that it feels more real than what you had for breakfast this morning. And here's what's strange. You have no idea which memories those are. Think about that for a second.
Right now, somewhere in your mind, there's a moment you believe in completely. A conversation, a childhood afternoon, something someone said to you, and it might be entirely constructed, assembled from fragments, filled in with feelings.
Sealed shut with total confidence. This isn't a rare glitch. This is how memory works. All of it, every single time.
In the 1970s, a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus ran an experiment that should have changed everything we thought we knew about ourselves. She showed people footage of a car accident. Then, weeks later, she asked them a simple question. How fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? One word,
Smashed.
and people remembered the crash as far more violent than it was. Glass they never saw, speeds that never happened, memories formed from a single word.
But here's where it gets disturbing. Loftus didn't stop there. She implanted entirely false memories. Told people they'd been lost in a shopping mall as a child, that a stranger had helped them, that they'd been terrified and crying, and people believed it. Not just vaguely, not reluctantly. They believed it fully. They added details, smells, colors, what the stranger was wearing. They felt the fear of a moment that never existed. And when she told them the truth, some of them argued with her. That's the part nobody wants to sit with. Not that false memories exist, but that, once formed, they feel exactly like real ones. There is no internal alarm, no warning label, no sense of wrongness. Your brain doesn't file memories as originals and copies. It just files them as yours. So what does that mean for everything you think you know about who you are? Because here's the thing. You didn't just remember your past. You built your identity from it. The story of who you became, the reasons you make the choices you make, the things you're afraid of, the people you love or can't forgive. All of it rests on memories you cannot verify. You are, in the most literal sense, built on a foundation you've never actually seen.
And this is where it gets stranger. Because memory isn't just fragile, it's purposeful. Your brain edits it, constantly, silently. Every time you remember something, you're not retrieving a file, you're reconstructing it. And every reconstruction changes it, slightly, invisibly. You add what makes sense. You smooth over what doesn't. You shift the emotional tone to match who you are now. Scientists call this reconsolidation, and it means that the more important a memory is to you, the more times you've revisited it, the more distorted it might be. The memories you trust most are the ones you've altered most. Your first heartbreak, the last time you saw someone you lost, the moment that changed everything. Every time you've returned to those memories, you've rewritten them. Not maliciously, not consciously, just the brain, doing what brains do, trying to make the story coherent, trying to make you survivable. But coherent for who? For the person you were, or for the person you became after? Because here's what almost nobody talks about. Memory doesn't just record the past, it serves the present. Your brain edits your history to protect your current sense of self. If you believe you're a good person, it will soften the memories that contradict that. If you've decided someone wronged you, it will sharpen every moment that confirms it. Memory is not a camera. It's a lawyer, working your case retroactively. And that's not a metaphor. That's the neuroscience. Studies show that people who go through therapy sometimes develop clearer memories of trauma that in some cases may not have happened at all. Not because the therapists are lying, not because the patients are,
But because the brain, given a narrative framework, will find the evidence, will construct the scenes, will fill the gaps with something that fits, this is the thing that should make you feel vertigo right now. Because if that's true, and it is, then your sense of who you were, the person you remember being, might be a collaborative fiction between your past and your present self, an ongoing negotiation, a story that keeps rewriting its own beginning to justify its current ending. And we're all walking around completely confident in it. There's a study from the 1980s. Researchers asked people to predict how they'd feel about a major life decision in 10 years. Then they waited. Then they went back. The decision was the same. The outcome was often the same, but the memory of how they'd made the choice had shifted dramatically. People who'd been uncertain remembered being confident. People who'd chosen reluctantly remembered feeling sure. They hadn't lied. They genuinely remembered it differently. Because the brain needs a coherent narrator, and a coherent narrator doesn't second-guess themselves, so it edits the doubt out. Retrospectively, smoothly. You think you've always been the person you are now. You think your values were always yours. You think the choices you made felt the way they feel in retrospect. But you were rewritten, quietly, by yourself, over and over again. This isn't just psychology. This is something deeper, something that starts to crack open questions we've been avoiding. If you can't trust your memories, can you trust your identity? If the person you remember being was partially constructed, who constructed it? If your past is negotiable, what are you actually made of? And here's the part that makes this feel like more than a science video. We are living in the first era of human history where this question matters at an industrial scale. Because now, your memories aren't just shaped by your own brain. They're shaped by your phone, your feed. The algorithm that decides what you see, what you revisit, what gets shown to you again and again until it feels like yours. Every time you scroll through old photos, you're reconsolidating. Every time you watch a video that reframes a moment in your past, you're rewriting. Every time a platform surfaces a memory from 3 years ago, pre-edited, filtered, soundtracked, it's handing your brain a reconstruction, and your brain files it smoothly as yours. We have outsourced the archive of our own lives to systems that have no interest in accuracy, only engagement. And engagement loves a clean story. It loves a villain. It loves a turning point. It loves the version of you that's most emotionally compelling. The most disturbing possibility isn't that your memories are wrong, it's that they're being shaped, quietly, by entities that benefit from making you feel a certain way about your past. Because whoever controls the story of who you were controls who you think you are, and almost no one is talking about that. So we come back to the question that's been underneath all of this. The one that this video was never really about memories. It was always about, who are you actually? Not the story you tell, not the past you remember, not the edited, reconsolidated, lawyer-approved narrative your brain has assembled and your phone has reinforced, but the thing underneath all of that. The part that was there before the story started, before you knew what to remember, before you learned which moments to keep and which to quietly let your brain rewrite into something more manageable. There's a version of you that existed before memory had time to lie. Somewhere under all of this, there might be something real, something that wasn't constructed, something that can't be reconsolidated, or maybe there isn't. Maybe identity was always a story. Maybe the self has always been this, a narrative creature, desperately stitching fragments into coherence, calling it truth because the alternative, the idea that there is no stable author behind the memories, is too destabilizing to survive. Maybe the most human thing about us isn't that we remember, it's that we need to believe we do. Here's what you're left with. Tonight, you'll think about a memory, maybe one this video surfaced, maybe one you haven't visited in years, and you'll feel it, real and textured and yours. And you won't know, not really, whether you're remembering or reconstructing, whether you're witnessing or writing, whether the person in that memory is you, or just the version of you that made the most sense at the time. And you'll believe it anyway, because you have to. Because without it, you don't know where you end, and the story begins.